This video is for those of you who are planning on buying an airline ticket online for the first time, specifically for Southwest Airlines. So whether you're new to flying or maybe you've had other people buy your airline tickets for you, in either case, in this video, I'm going to show you a complete tutorial of how to search and book your airline tickets on Southwest Airlines' website. And be sure to stick around to the end of the video where I'll share some helpful tips for you. So let's get to it. Dream vacations start here. Hey, if we're just meeting for the first time, my name is Ben, and on this channel, I create weekly travel tips and information, helping you plan for your next trip or vacation. So let's go ahead and jump into the Southwest Airlines website. You get to the Southwest Airlines website, you'll just open up your internet browser. I'm using Google, but whichever internet browser you prefer is okay. And then once you have it open, you'll just type in Southwest Airlines in the search bar, and the first link that should pop up is Southwest Airlines. So I'll just click on the link and it'll bring you to Southwest Airlines homepage, which is what you're seeing right now. At the top here, you'll see some important information that Southwest Airlines wants you to know. And then you'll usually see a promotion or airfare special that Southwest will usually put in this area here. But we want to go down to book, and we want to make sure the flight is selected. Now you can also book a hotel or a rental car or even a vacation package through Southwest. But for today, we're going to focus on the flight portion of booking a flight, which is what this video is about. These other three buttons that you see over on the side, the check-in, the flight status, and the change cancel button, I'm not going to cover in this video. I will cover that in a future video, so stay tuned for that. But let's go ahead and start the tutorial on how to book a flight on Southwest Airlines. So once we have flight selected, you have the option of choosing a round trip or a one-way flight. We're going to keep it on round trip. And then below this is the departure city that you're going to depart from. So actually my home city is Columbus, Ohio, which is already selected in here for me. But if something's on there, if it's not your home airport, you could actually change it, click on it and delete it. And then you want to enter the city that you're departing from. So you saw there, it said CMH. That is the airport code for Columbus, Ohio. But let's say you're departing from Denver. You can just type in Denver. It'll automatically change it into the 3-digit airport identifier. So I'm going to keep it at Columbus, my home airport. I'll choose the city that I'm going to arrive into. So for this example, I'm going to choose Orlando. And their identifier is MCO. And if I have specific dates for my trip, I can enter them here. Or if my dates are flexible, I can choose this low fare calculator. So I'll show you what that looks like. So this will search for the lowest fares for an entire month. So this is really good if you have flexible dates. So I have round trip, Orlando, and I'm going to choose departure month. I'm going to choose January. And the number of passengers, I'll select 2. And then I'll hit search. And what it's going to do is show me the cheapest fares by day for the entire month of January. So you can see at the top here it says departs. So this will be the departure dates. So I can look and see what the cheapest rates are for the entire month of January. But for this example, I want to leave on the 8th. And then I also want to come back a week later on the 15th. I'll hit search. So just because you choose the cheapest fare does not mean it's going to be the time that you want to leave at. Leaving from Columbus to Orlando, there are a lot of options here. I can sort it by a number of options. If I just click this button here, it's a sort by. Right now it's by departure time, so it's going to give me the earliest flights all the way to the latest flights. But I want to choose by price. I want to sort by price, and it's going to give me the cheapest fares. So once we have it sorted by price, you can see the times of the flight, number of stops. So a non-stop, it means there's no stops. You go directly from Columbus to Orlando, and then the duration of the flight. So this non-stop is almost 2.5 hours long. You have 3 different price points, and you're probably wondering what those even mean. Why are there 3 different prices? Well, each one has different benefits. So you have a business select category, an anytime category, and a want to get away category. But if you want to know what the benefits are for each price point, you can just click on one of the categories. So I'll just click on the business select category, and it'll bring up the fare benefits for each category. The first category here is the Southwest Airlines frequent flyer program called Rapid Rewards. I'm not going to go too much into this. Basically, the higher category fare you purchase, the more points you get. And then the second category is that you get 2 free check bags for every ticket that you purchase, which is a great benefit because most airlines do charge a fee for checking a bag. Most airlines charge $35 for the first bag and $50 for checking a second bag. And if you're wondering what a check bag is, check out the show notes in the video description. I'll have a link to show you what a check bag is, what a carry-on bag is, and what a personal item bag is. So be sure to check that out. Next category is no change fees. So if you wanted to change your flight to a different flight, Southwest did not charge any fees for doing so, but you do have to pay the difference in fare. So if you bought a ticket for $100, but the flight you want to change to, it costs $150, you would pay the $50 difference. Now, if you decide to cancel your flight, you just get a flight credit for up to 12 months that you could use in the future. And that's good for any category. And then refundable. So you can actually get a refund instead of a flight credit for the Business Select or Anytime. It is not available for Wanna Get Away. So if you were to cancel it, you would just get a flight credit. Same day change. So if you wanted to change your flight the same day, you could do that on Business Select at Anytime. You would have to pay a fare difference if you booked on the Wanna Get Away category. And same day standby. Now, if you don't know what standby is, that is when if you wanted to change your flight to an earlier flight, but the flight is full, could go on a standby list. So if for some reason someone did not show up for the flight you wanted to get on, you could actually take their place, and that's what's called a standby list. Priority boarding. So Southwest boards in 3 groups. There's an A group, a B group, and a C group. So the A group, if you were to book Business Select, you'd be one of the first 15 people on board the airplane. And because Southwest does not have assigned seats, you would get your first pick in seats. Flyby and priority and security lines. So if you were to book a Business Select, you could go through a different security line, which is a lot less crowded. You can get through it a lot quicker, as opposed to a general security line, which is going to be a lot longer to get through security lines. So this is an added benefit. If you book a better fare, the airline's going to take care of you and get you through security a lot faster. And the last category here is the premium drink. Right now it is temporarily suspended, but in the future, if you were to book a Business Select ticket, you would get a premium drink along with your ticket. And going back to our flight options, I'm just going to give you a little more details of what these options mean. All the cheapest options happen to be nonstops, which is not usually the case. Usually yet the nonstops are usually the most expensive ones, but in this case, the nonstops are the cheapest. And as we scroll down further, we can see that some of these have a stop, which means that you stop at a different airport before you continue on to your final destination. So you can see for this flight, it has you depart at 6:20 a.m. You get to Orlando at 12:20 p.m. It has 1 stop. It says you change planes in RSW. When we look at the top here, this one does not have it says 1 stop, but it doesn't tell you where you're stopping at. If you just click on the button that says 1 stop, it'll give you the flight details. So you can see this flight is stopping in Chicago Midway. So it departs at 12:45 from Columbus, gets into Chicago at 1. You have a 40-minute layover, but you have no plane change. So some people will get off the plane and then new passengers will get on, but you will stay on the plane. And then at 1:40 it pushes back from the gate and continues on to Orlando. You get to Orlando at 5:15 p.m. The one below it says change planes in RSW. You might be wondering, where is RSW? Well, if you click on the one button again, it'll give you the details for that. So it departs Columbus at 6:20 a.m. You arrive at Fort Myers at 9 a.m. But this one has a 2-hour and 20-minute layover, which is a long layover, which means you're going to be hanging out at Fort Myers Airport for almost 2.5 hours. And then you'll depart Fort Myers at 11:20 and then arrive into Orlando at 12:20 p.m. But let's go back to the top here. We want a nonstop because we just don't want to stop at another airport. And if we look at the times here, this one is at 6 a.m. This is the time that it's going to depart from the gate. So you want to get to the airport way earlier than this. I would not recommend getting there at 5:30. If this is going to be your first time at the airport, you probably want to give yourself at least 2 hours. So if you want to do this 6 a.m., you want to get there about 4 a.m. This is going to be a little bit too early for me. 8:20. The 8:20 flight, that's a little bit better, but still means I have to get to the airport at 6:20, which means I'm probably waking up earlier than that, depending on how long it takes me to drive to the airport. But this 12:25 flight looks good. It gets into Orlando at 2:40. It's a nonstop, which is what I like, and it's only $99. And the good thing about this is that if I get a hotel in Orlando, most hotels are not going to allow you to check in until 3 p.m. anyway. So this works out perfectly. By the time I get off the airplane, get my bags, and get over to the hotel, it's going to be after 3, which is perfect timing. It'll allow me to get in and check in. So I'm going to choose this flight, and I'm going to choose the want to get away category, which is $99. So the flight I just selected is just for the departure flight. So this is the flight going from Columbus to Orlando. Now we have to choose the return flight. This one's coming back on the next Saturday, January 15th. And you can see Orlando to Columbus. So I'm going to choose a flight for the return flight. I will filter it by price again to give me the cheapest flights. And I can see another early morning flight here, a morning flight, and a late flight. So I'm going to choose this flight here. This looks good to me. It'll be selected, and then I'll hit continue. You can see the flight details here, Columbus to Orlando on Saturday 1/8, and then I'm returning back from Orlando on the next Saturday, January 15th. And you can see the price per passenger is $157.36. Taxes and fees is $40. And then the total per passenger is $197.96 times 2, because there's 2 passengers. And here's our total amount, $395.92. And then it gives you option to upgrade if you want to. If you want to sign up for a credit card, you get $200 off your flight if you want to do that. And you can also add a car if you wanted to, but we're just going to keep the flight. We'll hit continue. So once we have our flight selected, it'll give us the price for agree and the flight information, flight details here. And then we want to enter in who's flying. So the important thing about this is whatever ID you're going to be presenting to the security, it has to match the ID you're going to be showing. So whether that's your driver's license or your passport, it has to match exactly. Otherwise, there's going to be issues when you go through security. So here you'll enter your first name, middle name, last name, date of birth. All this is required. Your gender is required. If you're a Rapid Rewards member or a frequent flyer member with Southwest, you can enter your account number there. And you can add special services to your flight. If you need a wheelchair or if you have any type of disability or need help getting on and off the plane, you can request these services, and someone will come and assist you with whatever help you need. And the next drop down is the secure traveler information. Here, if you're a part of the TSA PreCheck program, you can enter your known traveler number here. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I actually did a video on TSA PreCheck. You can check it out in the video description below to find out more information on that program. Passenger number 2, you'll enter here. And then Southwest offers an early bird check-in. So for an extra $20 per person, it'll automatically check you in for your flight. You can have an earlier boarding position, earlier access to seats, earlier access to overhead bin space. So if you're interested in that, you would just click on this button. It'll add $20 to your total. The next category is how do we contact you? They'll only contact you if you have important information about your flight. So you can do text or email, or you can have it call to you. You just enter your number there. It's very helpful if you get to the airport and there's a delay or a gate change. It'll text you or email you that information for you so you can stay up to date on what's happening with your flight. And the next section, if you happen to have any travel funds or vouchers or gift cards, you can apply those in this section here. And then you would enter your credit card and billing information. You can use a credit card, PayPal, or Uplift. I'm not sure what that is. I've never used it before, but most of you are probably entering a credit or debit card. You select your card type, enter your credit card number, expiration date, the code on the back of the card, usually 3 or 4 digits, name on the card, last name, and then your billing information, and then where to send your receipt. So you'll enter an email address of where you want your receipt sent to. And then the purpose of your trip, whether it's personal, business, or if this is your first time flying with Southwest Airlines. If it's your first time flying, Southwest will send you extra information about the airport, checking in procedures, and boarding procedures, which is very helpful. And then you can also share your plans with whoever you like. If someone's picking you up from the airport, you can send them your itinerary. And then when you're done entering all the information required, you will hit purchase, and then you will have booked a flight. Hey, if you're getting value out of this video so far, make sure to like the video and consider subscribing to get more travel-related videos just like this one. If this is going to be your first time going to an airport for a flight, I will say it can be a little bit overwhelming. There are a lot of procedures and rules that you need to follow, especially when going through airport security. If you have questions about what the TSA airport security rules are, I actually did a video on the most frequently asked questions about going through airport security. You can find it in the link here above, or I will also post it in the video description below, along with some other resources, so be sure to check out the show notes for those resource links. And as promised, here are some tips for you. If you have to book a flight with a connection in it, just make sure you give yourself enough of a layover to give yourself time to get to your next flight. I would say at least an hour minimum between flights, so that even if you experience a small delay, you still have time to get off the airplane, use the bathroom if you have to, and still have time to catch your next flight. Just know that Southwest starts boarding a half hour before the departure time, and because Southwest does not have assigned seats, if you end up to the gate late, even if you have an A grouping, you could end up boarding with like the C group and end up sitting in the back of the plane, or even worse, getting stuck in a middle seat. Also, try to avoid connecting in cities that might encounter snow during the winter months because you're more likely to experience delays or cancellations. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions about anything I covered in this video. I'm happy to answer those questions for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video.